Welcome, everyone. My name is David Womack. I'm the president and CEO of Practice Management Institute. And as many of you may know or may have been following, I believe this is our fourth PMI Shorts. And today I'm interviewing Lynn V. and Hazel Williams with Memorial Hermann, specifically Memorial Hermann Physicians Network. I've got more acronyms on my piece of paper here for Memorial than it's like alphabet soup.
Yes.
This year celebrates the 25th anniversary of the CMOM professional credential, and I have spent some time talking with recent CMOM graduates. I've interviewed and talked to some people that are part of putting CMOM together, the curriculum and the overall content, and just trying to give our audience and potential audience a glimpse into CMOM and a little bit behind the scenes so that they can have a better understanding of it. I mentioned Hazel and Lynn. Hazel and Lynn are two recent graduates of the CMOM certification program. Congratulations. I need one of those emojis to pop up with clapping hands. Hazel and Lynn are practice advisors with Memorial Hermann Physician Network. Did I say that right?
Yes.
I picked through the alphabet soup. They're a part of the Memorial Hermann Health System, which is the largest not-for-profit health system in Southeast Texas. And all of the DATs and stats I have on Memorial, because I wrote this in July, have probably already changed, and it's become even bigger. Having said all that, though, let's jump into getting to know Lynn and Hazel, and let's talk about their CMOM journey. Hazel, one of the first questions I had for you all is, what motivated you to pursue the CMOM credential in the first place?
So what motivated me, David, really was just to be a resource for my practices. We've received the PMI flyers year after year after year. And initially, if I'm honest, I was really interested in your like billing and coding courses. But oftentimes when we go into practices, the managed care side and part of the ACO we really have covered. But if questions, may arise about their staff and what to do,
Right.
I think the CMOM course would be able to better equip me to answer those questions regarding challenges they might be having with staff or things about credentialing, managed care contracting. They have all sorts of questions.
Overall operations.
And of course, it's a better understanding of how everything is done, how it's operationalized for the whole office, in and outs of it.
I should have.
Here, David. I used to be a manager in my old world.
Correct.
Came here, I never got the certification, and I was never encouraged to receive the certification until here. So
yeah, but that was some years ago.
Yeah, many
years ago.
Yeah.
We don't have to date ourselves, do we? Well, Lynn, what's very interesting, and I should have led with this. In your all's role, you work with, correct me if I'm wrong, you all work with a lot of the independent providers in the Houston area. And as much as you're a liaison between that practice and the system, you're also there to help that practice function and thrive.
As best as we can, absolutely.
Right.
Try to learn everything we can so that we can assist them. And we do have a lot of other departments within, of course, Memorial Hermann that assist us with certain issues that are really not our main function. So we are more likely to be able to assist a lot more with quality.
Right. We facilitate, David. We facilitate a lot of things because we don't have the answer for everything. And like Lynn was saying, we have different teams within MHMD, like we have credentialing, right? So we can steer questions to the credentialing help desk. Someone
Okay.
might have a questions about claims being rejected, right? And so
Right.
we have a solutions team, so we steer them. We know a little
Right.
bit enough
Enough.
about everything to have intelligent and informed conversations. But oftentimes, if they are looking for resolution,
Yeah,
we task that to another team.
correct.
You-
If
you-
it's deep diving into it, then of course the team that specializes in it takes over.
You two know enough to be dangerous.
Just enough.
Just enough. Just
Well,
enough.
let me ask you both this. How did going through the CMOM curriculum and the class, how did it change your perception, if it did, about the overall workings of the medical practice?
Well, I have to say it's a huge difference from when I had to do it. I mean, we manage basically a lot of the functions of the staff, front staff, back staff, but when it comes to my big thing is budgets, right? We had that one piece was an eye-opening for both of us because it wasn't something that I had to do. I don't know if Hazel did or not, but it wasn't that for me. But because I worked in a hospital, so JACO was big for me. So that was something that I'm used to, have a better understanding, as well as managed care. But that budget piece, the financial piece was
Gotcha.
tough.
Okay. I hear that a lot, but that overall financial management part of the class is you said it best, completely eye-opening for a lot of people. Hazel, were you going to add something to that?
So same thing for me. We both found, and I'm a math person, right? I love math. It's always been challenging, but yet rewarding, right? When I can figure it out. And so the whole, like Lynn said, creating a budget and having to manage that, I realized for me, David, with and being a former manager, that managers are charged with a lot, right? And how they manage their day and manage the staff and manage the providers, whether it's front office, back office,
Right.
really knowing all of the inner workings of a
Yeah.
practice. They are really charged with a lot.
A lot more than I'm used to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Even when I worked at the Convenience Center, we actually had same thing like here. We had departments, right? So we had a transcription team that did
Right.
the filling in the coding. We had a call center that made the appointments. So, and that took calls as well. So that kind of gave us some of our time back in the practice to
Right.
really serve the patients that are in front of us and not have to worry so much about answering the phone and scheduling appointments.
Right.
My practice ran like an employee group almost. And it was orthopedics and hands, but it really ran like an employee group versus a smaller independent.
Right.
That's what I'm used to as
Right.
well. I mean, they give more time to take care of the patients because we have so many departments that helps
Right.
facilitate everything.
Well, I think certainly a lot of the feedback that I hear is the CMOM is incredibly overarching. It kind of gives a perspective on everything. And
Yes.
one of my favorite lines is that it pries your eyes wide open to some of the things that you weren't seeing or weren't thinking about or didn't have to deal with in a prior life, for sure. What Lynn, what were just a couple of the main, you've already mentioned the financial component, but what were some of the main takeaways from the overall class that kind of stick with you today?
Well, since we're in the hospital system, JACO is a big thing. I did notice a lot of things. I mean, we have done that in the past, and we do have to take it annually, but this course actually go into more in depth than I realized, as well as managed care. I mean, we thought we know managed care, but there was a lot of thing in there that has to do with contracts. We don't, handle or do that, but learning the different things that the contracts, the wording and certain phrases and things of how it worked and what it means for the provider makes a huge difference for me.
Yeah.
It makes it better for me to understand when provider asks questions about, well, the fee schedule, what does this mean? What does that mean? It helps.
Right. Right. That's great. Hazel?
Same thing. I think the book, I will say, did well at really breaking things down. There was a lot of vocabulary, and I will say, you know, maybe just some of these words that we had taken for granted throughout the year. So
Right.
for me, the refresher, and then some, I just kind of had no clue what they were. So like you said, that course in the book is very broad. So it touched on a lot of things. When there were things that I knew, like NCQA and APMs, I was like happy to see that. I was like, oh my God, okay, so this is something I have a little, you know, background in, but just knowing a lot of background in, but just
Right.
knowing a refresher of all of the laws that,
Yes.
you know, out there,
Yeah.
that they
big
get
part.
questions about. It,
Yeah.
you know, that was,
That's a lot.
you know, it was a lot. It was eye-opening, like you said. It was really eye-opening for me.
The
And again, I want to be able to take some of the things that I learned and, you know, be a resource to my practice.
Right.
If
Right.
manager hasn't been CMOM certified, I want to be able to encourage them
Absolutely.
to, you know, get the certification
Right.
or even assist and answer questions if they arise. So,
Well, it's it's interesting. One of the takeaways from doing some of these interviews is I knew it, but it was confirmed by a lot of people that had done CMOM years ago. That manual lives on their desk. It lives within arm's reach of their office chair. One of the trainers that teaches CMOM today, when we were doing this interview, she literally picked up the book and showed it. She's like, I'm not kidding that I use it. Here it is. And she had taken the class like 15 years ago.
oh yeah, I told Lynn, I said, okay, well, we're done with the course. I'm going to throw away all of these tests and all this paper that I had,
Right.
but I'm keeping the book. But because it's a great reference tool to refer back to. I mean, yeah, everything was here while I was studying for the test, but I know
Right.
all of it's not going to stick.
It's not.
Right. And so I know I can reference the book when I need it. Right.
Absolutely.
And so I know, you know, future state, it's going to be a great resource.
Oh, absolutely. We're definitely going to be using it.
That's fantastic. So in closing, let me ask you both, Lynn, I'll start with you. What would you say? What kind of advice would you give? Or if someone was thinking about doing the CMOM, how would you suggest they begin the journey?
Well, I would first say that if you're thinking about it, you just need to do it. Because we thought about it all the time.
Right.
We finally, you know, took the step and moved forward and signed up and took the course. And it really is wonderful. I mean, it took us some time. We're busy, but we find time. We try to make it work within our schedule and study. But without a doubt, there is so much information that they can learn from so that they can be a better manager. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hazel?
So for me, definitely, I think if you are considering taking the course, you should perhaps partner yourself with people that have gone through the journey already, that can perhaps give you some insight. But yes, you should definitely step out on faith and do the course. They have all sorts of resources to help you succeed. So if your way to study is audio, listening, they have recorded sessions that you can listen to. They also have live sessions that are really great where it's interactive and you can participate. If you are a self-motivated person, there is the book and you can read that on your own and take all of the practice tests. So there's no way that you can fail. All you can do is succeed in this course because there's different ways that cater to people and their different styles of learning.
Yeah.
That's great advice. That's great advice. And go ahead, Lynn. Go ahead.
The thing Hazel and I did was we took the test, all 5 of them, before we started studying.
Just to see what right? In
Right.
terms of
Sure.
knowledge, right? Do I know some of the questions, right?
Where do I need to
Do I have a
focus
good
on?
foundation already? And, and then what do I need to immerse myself in? And so we immediately knew that was the budget section, right? That was the finance section.
Yes.
Got it.
The section where we missed a lot of questions. And it was the instructor even told us that is the section where a lot of questions are missed. I don't know if it's because of all of the calculations or having to remember the formulas.
It's the formulas. But I have to say, the videos that we watched, the instructor was wonderful. I mean, the way she explained it made it so much easier to remember.
Yes.
Oh,
That's how
good.
I learned it, and I think I listened to the video all the videos at least twice to kind of remind me. Yeah,
right.
and it did help a lot on the financial.
But you all also participated in a few of the live sessions as well. Am I correct?
Pretty much all of the live
I did it
sessions, right?
twice. I did it
I
twice.
did it more than.
Yeah, well, I mean, like
Right.
the whole course.
Oh, yeah.
Like
But
4 or 5 weeks, we did it several times.
yes, we
Got
did
it.
all the times. And I like the fact, David, that it was interactive, that you can put your answers in the chat,
Yes.
right? And so that made it a little competitive for the people that like to compete, right? In terms of answering
How
questions, who
fast
gets
you
it right,
answer.
how fast did I answer? There's something, like I said, in there for everybody. So yes,
That's
that's competitive.
Yeah.
They would probably love that live session.
Oh, absolutely.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
I think all of them were
right.
helpful because we've utilized everything. We utilized the
Book.
book, we've utilized the videos, right, and the
And the live
recordings,
sessions.
and we utilized the live session.
And the test,
And
we
the
took it
sample
over
test.
and
We
over
took
and
all
over.
of the tests in the book several
That's
times.
great.
So
That's
we
so
even split and created our own test for the final exam. So there was some information out there. We studied those flashcards instead of making them ourselves, and we were really successful.
Yeah.
In passing.
That's fantastic. Well, I know how busy you guys are. Just from working with you and Memorial overall for years, I know how busy you are. I appreciate that you took the time to do it. I appreciate that you took the time to do this and to visit with me for a little bit in putting this together. I think people will find it extremely helpful. And thank you all so much for your time. And I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking us about our journey. It was a great one.
It's absolutely.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.